Hello.
Welcome. Okay, try that again.
That's fine. Hello. Welcome.
No.
Do you want to do it again? Okay.
Hello.
Welcome to Toy Trash Talks. So today, we're not talking about a toy, but we're talking about a toy-related movie property.
I'm Via.
Let's try that again.
Do you want to start from the beginning?
Let's start from the beginning, yeah.
Okay.
Hello. Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Toy
Toy
Trash
Trash
Talks. I'm Lex.
And I'm Via.
Cool. What are we doing today?
Today we're talking about
We're talking about
The
a movie
new-
that is about toys, Transformers.
Rise of the Beast.
Yay! Do you want to do that again?
God, maybe we do need a soft script.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Hello.
Sorry, I wasn't ready.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Toy Trash Talks. I'm Lex.
And I'm Via.
Today, we're not reviewing a toy, but rather a movie that is about toys.
Yay!
Yay!
Transformers, Rise of the Beast.
Rise of the Beasts. We saw it yesterday. A bit of a weird experience.
What an experience.
What an experience.
So, for context, we get our popcorn, we get all our shit together, we're ready to rock and roll. We are so ready for this movie. We sit down, we go through trailers and things, the normal stuff happens, nothing too weird.
No, normal series of trailers, that kind of vibe.
Trailers are rocking and rolling, they're like a little bit way through. Not all the way through, but like not even 15 minutes in, power cuts.
Yeah.
Cinema goes dark.
During the trailer for Elemental, surprisingly, which is pretty funny.
Oh, was it Elements? Pixar's Elements?
Elemental, one of those.
Elemental or Elements, whatever.
Mm.
During that and the power cuts, and we sit there patiently because this isn't something that we're not entirely used to here in South Africa.
Not entirely unused to here.
Oh yes, I said not entirely used to.
Yeah.
It's not completely unusual here in South Africa for this kind of thing to happen. So we sit patiently for a little while, and a big man goes out and says, "Bah, bah, 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 what's going on?" And eventually we go out and we take a look, and they're working on it. So we sit back in our chairs, and how long did we wait before
About half an hour.
the movie came back? Half an hour.
Yeah.
Half an hour later, the movie comes back on, and they had the cheek to play the trailers.
Very much fucking trailers again. Luckily not the same trailers, but they picked up from when they left off, but they should have just started the film.
They should have started the movie. We'd wasted so much time sitting there, and quite frankly, it sucked. You know, it wasn't great. But it was fine. It wasn't the worst experience.
But hey, we're gonna do a bit of an initial impressions first, and then at some point we might do some spoilers. We will put down a timestamp. Not into spoilers, that's fine. You can skip it there, we'll let you know.
We'll give you fair warning.
Yeah, there'll be a thing on screen at some point saying where the code is, and you can figure it out. But we would appreciate if you watch all the way to the end. Just to feed the algorithm, give us a like, give us a follow. If you want to hear some more stuff about us, yelling about toys and or toy adjacent movies, come check us out. So, Transformers, Rise of the Beasts. What is your overall experience? If you could encapsulate your experience in a neat little package, a Beast package, if you will, what would you say?
I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I went into the movie not really trying to think too much ahead or trying to psychoanalyze the trailer for like, oh, are they going to leave this in, or are they going to take this part out? You know, because I know a lot of action movies tend to do that, where the trailer's a bit misleading. But it was pretty cool overall. Pleasantly surprised. Fantastic action sequences. A lot of the stuff felt really real, and like the things that I was seeing on the screen were all sharing one reality in one dimension, which sometimes doesn't work out so well in movies that are CGI crossed with real life.
Particularly the older Transformers movies, like the Michael Bay ones, where it feels like they scripted a bunch of things and they just left in like a thing saying, oh, robot will speak here, we'll figure it out later. So when the characters interact with the robot, when the characters interact with the robot characters, it doesn't feel real because they're not really having the same conversation.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, everything, like you said, it all felt like they were in the same universe. Like there's a lot of banter back and forth between human characters and robot characters. Everybody felt like they were sharing the same importance, which is like finally, after maybe like 7 movies, they finally nailed it. Like Bumblebee did a very good job at doing that, even though Bumblebee didn't really speak at all.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yes, this is at a great time. Very surprised. It was a fun movie. I was going in with the expectation of like maybe it's at least if it's kind of on the same level as Bumblebee, I'll be happy. And I feel like it's hit that bar.
I think Bumblebee came out with something really heartfelt and kind of wholesome, and I wasn't expecting this at all. But this movie is a very, very good follow-up on capturing the ideas of human connection and emotion and relaying a feeling of importance in the actions as opposed to you just being dragged on for a ride.
Yeah.
Which tends to happen, for me personally, it tends to happen in a lot of action movies. It feels like I'm just there and I'm not meant to question anything and I'm not meant to think too much about it. It's just supposed to be like a visual spectacle. This felt like real emotion, real heartwarming moments, actual real chemistry between the characters, even though they're CGI alien robots. And that's fantastic. It really sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, they have more chemistry than a lot of people that I know.
There's more chemistry than a coffee mug in some characters. So that for me was really fantastic. And for some people, it might be only a subtle thing. It might be a small detail amongst the cool action sequences and the plot and all the other things that are driving the movie forward. But for me, the meaningful emotional connections without it being overly cliched or overdone, fantastic. I loved it. I'm there for it.
Yeah, it was nice having these characters say things in a very casual way, in a very like human way, as opposed to every word being like big or epic or like very out of context, like the other films do. Should we talk about the characters?
Do they look as cool as they do in the trailer?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yes, they do. They look even better.
All the designs for the robots, they look great. Like with Bumblebee, where they simplified a bit of the design, minimized a lot of the techno noise to make it a bit more readable. They look awesome.
Yeah, he's also not the main character.
No, he's taken he takes a big backseat in this film.
Yeah.
So we got out of the Autobots, we got Prime returning as Optimus Prime, who is voiced by Peter Cullen once again.
Amazing.
Doing a fucking great job in this. Got the Bumblebee who's back. We have 4 new Autobots. We got Mirage. He's a Porsche. He's quite cool. Don't worry.
Sorry, I'm having a moment.
We're just looking at the cast list, and I do not want to butcher people's names. So we've got Mirage, we've got RC, Wheeljack, and that big plane guy voiced by John DiMaggio, Stratosphere. Out of the Autobots, who did you like the most?
I guess Mirage, because he took such a front seat.
Yeah.
Normally, I wouldn't necessarily like a character that was depicted to be uber modern or uber relatable. He comes across as very human. And I think that's kind of like what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he has a lot of screen time in the film. That gives you the opportunity to really appreciate him as a character. Not only his design, but like his character and how he does have an arc of growth throughout the film. And I'd go as far as to argue that even Mirage might be the protagonist of the film.
I would say he's definitely like the protagonist or secondary antagonist.
He's definitely a driving force to moving the plot forward.
Huh? Driving force.
Oh, that was unintentional. that was an unintentional pun, but very good.
Yeah, I thought I was going to enjoy RC or Wheeljack a bit more because I like both the designs a lot. I liked Wheeljack's look. He turns into a Capavan. I felt like they were a bit underutilized in the film.
Yeah.
And like
there's a lot going on, but
yeah, I'm surprised at how much I like Mirage. I thought he was going to be a bit irritating and a bit too like
over the top.
Yeah, a bit too kiddo pure, let's say, quote unquote, because he's kind of that character. But like,
I'm trying to be culturally relevant. Yeah. I'm cool. If you're like 13, no, he's much better than that.
Even though he was referencing stuff from that time period, this film takes place in 1994.
Oh yes,
7 years after Bumblebee, chronologically.
Okay, cool. I really like Mirage. He's my favorite.
Mirage became a really standout character for me in this film. I like his look. His voice directing and acting was pretty good. I like the voice. I think it suited that character a lot. It's very cool having an Autobot who has a big speaking role and does a lot in the films. Because previously it's just been Bumblebee and he doesn't fucking talk, man. He just makes noises.
Yeah.
So
he's a strong, silent type.
Yeah. Actually have a back and forth with like the human protagonist and robot protagonist is awesome. Like it felt really good to have that finally. The director and the writers weren't afraid to do that. It's like, yeah, just who cares? Like, it's a talking robot, whatever. Just make him relatable.
Not to go off on a tangent, but it just occurred.
It's too late.
It just occurred to me. Do you think Bumblebee, the movie, reminded you in any way, shape, or form of the Iron Giant?
Yes.
Okay.
It was also very intentional.
That being said, let's move on because I wasn't sure if that was intentional. No, that was just something that I picked up on.
I believe that was an intentional cue was to draw from the Iron Giant.
Okay. Moving on now.
Moving on. So, yes, Mirage, out of all the Autobots, I think Mirage is definitely the standout character.
He has the most speaking lines.
He has the most speaking lines. I mean, he has some cool abilities. He can make holograms, which is quite cool. They have a lot of fun with that in the movie. There's a point where he goes through a bunch of different forms to show they can change shapes. He doesn't do like a bunch of reference forms.
He's trying really hard to impress him.
He wants a friend. He's been locked up in a garage for who knows how long.
He just wants a homie.
He just wants a homie. He's really fucking bored. So he kind of kidnaps Noah and just takes him to his Autobot powers. It's like, hey.
Is this spoilers?
No, this is in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
We see this in the trailer. So it's not really a spoiler.
Okay.
Mirage is great. He's just he's relatable in the fact that he's bored and he wants to do something different, which does drive the plot forward a little bit. But I think he is probably the most fun character in the film. Yeah.
I would argue he's the only comedic...
Yeah, it's a bit of comedic relief. Yeah.
He's the only comedic elephant. He's...
Not talking about the Maximals, baby.
He's the only comedic...
My favorite Maximal is comedic elephants.
He's the only comedic element in the film.
He has some good lines. There is a really, really great line he has later on in the film.
Comedic elephant. Sorry.
That's not a spoiler, by the way.
No.
Yeah. Like I said, Mirage has the best line in the movie. Not going to spoil it.
It's in the trailer.
That line is in the trailer.
Was it not in the original trailer?
No, it's on the trailer.
If it's not in the trailer, we're not going to spoil it.
Fuck, it's a good line. Holy shit, it's so good.
You'll know it when you hear it.
You'll know it when you hear it. So, yeah, all about Mirage. Maximals, this is their first time being introduced in a live-action movie. It's a bit of a callback, obviously, to Beast Wars. The original Beast Wars series premiered in 1994, 1995. So it's all a big reference to that. We've got Optimus Primal, who's a big metal gorilla, voiced by Ron Perlman. We've got Air Razor, who's a big metal bird, voiced by Michelle Yeoh. I believe is how you say her name. I apologize profusely if I'm fucking it up.
I think it's Yeoh.
Yeoh. Yeah, she is the protagonist from Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, and she was amazing at that. We've got Rhinox, who is voiced by David Shabalov. I
thought we said we're not going to ruin this by botching names up.
It's too late. If I botch names, I apologize. I think it's David Shabalov.
My brain changed it to Soy Boy without me reading it.
It would be very offending if we call him David Soy
Boy. David Sabalov?
I think it might be Sabalov. Please let us know in the comments how badly we're butchering these names.
Please don't burn us. Please don't burn us. We're so sorry. Because we're really not good at this.
Yeah. Cheeto's in there.
Can we put a disclaimer?
Yeah.
In somewhere, just a little text pops up somewhere to say, we're so sorry. Please don't sue us.
Can you please help me pronounce Cheeto's voice actor's name?
Tongai Chirisa.
That's perfect. I think that's very good.
I apologize in advance for everything we've ever done.
There's a secret Maximal, but we're not going to talk about who that is yet, even though it has kind of been spoiled already. How did you feel about our Maximals?
I'm trying to think about what to say that doesn't spoil it, doesn't give too much away.
I think just give a general impression of which one you thought was out of that crew.
Honestly, Air Razor.
I do agree.
Air Razor was the bee's knees. Air Razor was a pivotal character in the film, I believe.
Surprisingly, a very pivotal character. Yeah.
The other ones, the other Maximals, I really wasn't impressed by. A little bit. I mean, I feel like if the movie had been allowed to be a little bit longer, I think a lot of bits that were sliced off could have been added in to give a little bit more screen time to specific characters, particularly the Maximals, but that's okay.
Yeah, I do feel like they were quite underutilized.
But Air Razor steals the show.
Air Razor was awesome. Voice acting was impeccable. Her design was cool.
Yeah. Strong character.
I must say, I do also really like Optimus Primal. Good performance by Ron Perlman. There are moments in the film where you have an emotional reaction to the way this gorilla is emotionally reacting to things, and it is astounding to see that and be like, oh shit, like
Kind of tasteful.
it's very tasteful. Like apparently, the director Stephen Cable Jr.
Stephen Cable.
He wanted Optimus Primal to have a great range of expressions without kind of detracting from the fact that he's a robot. So they put in a lot of effort to bring that through, because he has a couple of moments in the film where he's
It's emotional.
and he's really questioning what's going on and what's he doing.
Yeah.
This Optimus Primal feels a bit different than the one from the 90s, but he's in a situation where he's also just kind of been thrust into leadership and now he needs to kind of figure out what's going on. But yeah, I think he was great. He had out of all the Maximals, he had the most sort of speaking line and follow through and direction, that kind of thing. However, Ares is the best Maximal of this crew.
Yeah.
She was my favorite live action Maximal for sure.
Same.
Okay, cool. Now we got our villains of the film. We got the Terracons. They are heralds of a dark god called Unicron, which that is a bit of a reference to another Transformers TV series called Transformers Energon, I believe, where Unicron just had this whole army of like generics called Terracons. So they're a reference to that. And there's a bunch of them running around at some point in the film. They're weird little creepy gremlin monster guys. Make good noises. Yeah. Other Terracons, we've got Scourge, who's that big gnarly looking truck guy. We have Nightbird, who turns into a Nissan. And we've got Battletrap, who is that big orange tow truck looking dude who just wants to smash shit. I must say.
Also, David Sobolov.
Also voiced by David Sobolov. David Sobolov is a longtime veteran of Transformers voice acting. He voiced Death Charge in the original Beast Wars series. And he's done a bunch of different roles. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I like Death Charge.
Death Charge is cool.
He was rad. Yeah.
So, Terracons. How do you feel about the Terracons?
Only that I wish they'd received a little bit more screen time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I wanted a bit more like bickering between all of them, or like them just hanging out and doing stuff. I really like the dynamic they had. They're just in it for the sake of being in it. What I mean is
they want power.
They want power. They're obviously being controlled by Unicron. So they're also very into just destroying things and having a good time doing that. I really like the designs of all three of them, particularly Nightbird. She's voiced by Michelle J. Rodriguez, I believe. Her design is fucking sick. Like, she has the wings, she can fly around, she has 2 katanas, but I wish she did some more. Like, I wish there was some more action with Nightbird, because she has such a cool design. I really liked her voice as well, and the voice direction for her. She has a bit of a weird face, but you don't really get a moment to really see what's going on with her.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think they could have given the Terracons a little bit more justice. Even if we just had like 5 seconds more of time for the audience to be able to like really take in their design and take in their appearance, that would have been cool. But
I was also hoping for a bit of a backstory for all three of them, because it's implied that Nightbird used to be a Decepticon and has now become a Terracon. Battletrap, not sure. Scourge. There's a line in the film where Unicron says, "I should have killed you with the rest of your planet." So whether he might be a Cybertronian, he might be something else that's been turned into a Cybertronian.
Okay.
I'm not sure, or a transforming being, I should say. I liked, out of all the Terracons, I kind of liked all of them. They were just fun. Whenever they're on screen, it was just really fun to watch them be bad and do bad shit.
Yeah, they were enjoying themselves and enjoying being bad, and that was a cool part of the film. Yeah, definitely.
Scourge. I think Scourge does steal the show as the villain. Voiced by Peter Dinklage. I think the voice is very cool. I like some of the lines he had, particularly he's fighting Prime and stuff. He has some good banter with him. There's some good lore drop stuff as well. And I really liked how gnarly it looked.
Old beef.
It feels like this old beef. Like he knows who Prime is.
This beef is so old and stinky.
Yeah.
It should have been thrown out long ago, but they're just hanging on to it.
Okay, should we talk about our human characters, then do a general like how we felt, and then maybe just some spoilers?
Okay.
So humans, our 2 protagonists, we have Noah Diaz and we have Eleanor Wallace, who are played by Anthony Ramos, Elena Juarez.
Anthony Rameau and Dominique Fishback.
Respectively, yeah. How did you feel about them?
I like them. My favorite thing was that there was no forced romantic aspect between them.
Yeah.
What a relief.
Yeah, fucking hell.
So tired of having that shoved down our throats as an audience. Like, fuck, Jesus, stop it. Just stop it, man. And they did it very well in this movie, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. It didn't feel like they had to be romantically interested in each other. A lot of the other Transformers films, maybe I'm just thinking of the one in particular.
You're probably thinking of the first one a lot.
Bad one.
Which one is the bad one?
The very first one.
The first one, actually, out of all the Transformers films, I think the first one is probably like the second best or third best one.
The second one,
Revenge of the Fallen. God,
there was a movie with a blonde lady, and
you're thinking
that romance felt very forced.
Dark of the Moon, the third one.
I don't even know.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's just bad. Anyway, they didn't do that, and I'm really happy.
Yeah,
full stop.
I like the human cast a lot. They felt extremely refreshing after all, like, just horrible fucking characters in the first couple of films, aside from Bumblebee, particularly Marky Mark. Anyway, not going to go on about that. Everyone's gone on about that. They felt great. They felt refreshing. I actually felt like they weren't just taking up more screen time and being like, get to the robots. There was more of a purpose of them being there. They weren't just along for the ride. They had agency. They were doing things. The Autobots needed their help. And they had a bit of their own agenda for a little while as well, which felt very natural. It all felt like if this was to happen, this kind of feels like it's a natural situation, even though it's incredibly weird and strange.
Yeah, all things considered, the movie felt like it would go the way that it would go if it was in some semblance of reality.
Yeah.
It's a big deal in terms of, like, even if you're not actively thinking about it as a viewer, I think it plays a massive role in the believability and, by extension, the enjoyability of the film.
Exactly. Cool. We got one more character. His name is Unicron. He's the big bad.
Bum, bum, bum.
I think he had a really great look. Very referential, obviously, to the original design, but like a bit bigger and a bit spikier. I like the voice performance provided by Coleman. Help me out here.
Coleman Domingo.
Yeah, it felt like it felt big and imposing. It's cool just having Unicron back when everybody's kind of afraid to use him in a way that isn't like, he's just a big dude who eats things, man. Like, that's his whole vibe. He is an old being that can traverse through space and time, kind of, except he's trapped somehow. Good performance. I like his look. We will maybe see him again in the future. Who knows? How did you feel about Unicron?
There were a couple moments that I didn't particularly enjoy, but for the most part, I think he has enough screen time. He has just enough screen time to keep him mysterious to people who aren't fully aware of who he is. I don't even know if I can call him a he. He's more of an it. He's this giant creature.
Yeah,
but he's sentient and stuff.
He's referred to as a dark god.
Yeah, he's a god. So he's not just like a bad guy. He's a fucking huge interdimensional potentially
he's
bad
kind
guy.
Of like a Galactus level villain.
Yeah, so I think it's difficult to really be able to show that in a sense of like for people to truly understand the scale, but pretty cool, pretty imposing. I liked his look and his design, and like you said, the spikes. Lots of spikes. So many spikes. Fantastic. Pretty cool bad guy.
Bad guy. And
now, chapter 3. Spoilers.
Potentially spoilers. Let's do a little wrap up first.
Okay.
How many beasts have risen in your heart while watching this film?
How many beasts are there in total?
It's difficult to say without spoiling.
Okay, well, in general, how I feel about the movie.
I guess let's say, is your beast fully risen?
Is it at half mast?
You have a chubby beast.
Yeah, I think if we're looking at it in terms of the way that I rate the entire movie as a film, like, a solid 6 to 7 out of 10. Solid.
And that's divorced because obviously you are
divorced.
You have been exposed, let's say, to Transformers via me. So as a person who isn't,
that's a word you could use.
Isn't deep in the lore as I am, who can name several obscure characters, and like a bunch of weird shit like that. Like as a
standalone person.
Or there's a word I'm looking for. Escaping an independent Transformers fan.
I was going to say I'm independent.
Vicarious Transformers fan.
Sure, we'll take it. A vicarious Transformers fan. That's me. I'll get it on a t-shirt. Actually.
How did you feel about this movie? It's just a movie you can show to someone who doesn't know what an Optimus Primal is.
I think if you have enough snacks, you could show it to anybody. Yeah. Like, there's nothing inherently offensive about the film. And it's not boring in the sense of, like, most of the movie, because they even said to you going in, like, I don't want most of this movie to be shot in a boardroom of like men in green suits arguing, with little shiny things tied to their suits. You know, like, come on, I'm so tired of that. Like, it used to have its
about that.
It used to have its place, but I think we've seen enough of that, and most of this movie plays out like on the ground, and not like in a discussion somewhere, which you actually see what's going on. They show you, they don't tell you. So I would recommend, if I was showing this to somebody who had no allegiance or no affiliation to the franchise at all, or in its entirety at all, I would say solid 8 out of 10 movie. Yeah. It's not perfect. There's a couple things, but nothing's, no movie is perfect. If you know of a perfect movie, please let us know. I'd love to watch it. So a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel like it's not coming off as, it doesn't feel like a big dumb action movie, like AKA, let's say, Megalodon, The Meg. Or like Fast and Furious. Like, it's a fun time. I had an enjoyable experience, and I don't feel like it was being condescending or just kind of just being big and dumb and loud just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
Like, there were some moments of heart and a bit of general character stuff going on, which didn't feel too out of place or too forced.
It wasn't boring.
It wasn't boring.
It was a good movie.
Like, it had a good pace to it.
Overall,
I think the pace was very good. I think it was maybe a bit too fast. I would have liked to seen a bit more space between like certain sections for a bit of breathing room. It feels like a lot of stuff was sort of cut out very late in this film. There's actually a whole section that's been removed from the intro.
Don't hold that against the film going.
Don't hold it against the film going intro.
Yeah.
I think then hopefully later on we'll see the parts that are missing. And I'm sure it also cut the time just to make it a bit quicker and more digestible. Like, a general one isn't gonna suffer through a 3-hour movie with giant robots punching each other's faces.
I mean, unless there's a halfway intermission and they're offering free popcorn.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen in this country.
I think between a 7 and an 8, definitely, it is definitely one of the better live action Transformers movies. Maybe not the best. So I don't think the best one's come out yet. I think it's still getting there, but it's definitely getting there. It feels a lot better than the first couple movies did. It feels like the directors and writers are actually respecting the Transformers as characters and as sapient emotional creatures, as opposed to just big dumb set pieces that blow up and just say things randomly. 7 out of 10. I feel like my beast is pretty risen, and I was pretty excited to see this movie after all.
Yeah, I would say for people who aren't a fan of the franchise, give it a watch. You'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah, give it a watch. Try it out.
If you are a fan, you will probably watch it.
You've probably watched it already if you're
probably enjoy it.
Yes.
So there we go.
Now maybe spoilers potentially.
Potentially spoilers.
What should we talk about first? Maybe let's talk about, there is a scene at the end of the movie which I think is neat, but I'm very disappointed by.
Okay.
So they reveal that G.I. Joe exists in this universe.
I don't even know what that means.
G.I. Joe is kind of like a sister franchise to the Transformers, where there's a bunch of army men.
Are they related?
It's both Hasbro. And they've crossed over before.
Okay.
So
that explains.
There are a bunch of G.I. Joe movies. Like, there's a guy called Snake Eyes, he's a ninja. They fight Cobra Commander. They keep trying G.I. Joe live action movies. They never seem to work. Are you having a memory there?
I'm sorry, having a moment.
There's a man with a metal head called Destro.
Isn't there a song called Coco Cabana?
It's not Cobra Commander. Cobra
Cobra Commander. Cut it out.
No, I'm keeping it in. Fuck it. This is all just raw and live.
I think it's a Pina Colada song. No.
A Cobra Colada song.
No, it's not that song. Kokomo.
Okay.
It's called Kokomo.
So this also dictates how interested you are in G.I. Joe.
This has got nothing to do with it, and also I don't really have any interest in G.I.
Neither do I. Like, I'm
There's
happy
no
for...
cool dinosaurs. There's no cool robots from space. What do you want from me, bruh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for the G.I. Joe fans, but...
Happy for them.
I think it's cool that they're trying to, like, combine the universes. It never seems to work out for some reason.
It felt really out of place for me personally.
It did. I think it should have been... Apparently, in the test screenings, it was a Sector 7 reveal, who were the secret organization in the Bumblebee and the other movies. I think it should have been something more along the lines of, hey, here's a Decepticons. Here's maybe a tease of Megatron. Because they're completely removed from this movie.
Yeah.
At least this cut of the movie, they're not in it at all.
seeing the G.I. Joe logo, it kind of threw me off.
Yeah, it felt very out of place.
It kind of threw me off.
That was apparently a decision actually by the director, because he's also into G.I. Joe and he wanted to have a bit of fun with it, so he just threw it in there as a little callback. Which I appreciate that. If you're a fan of both franchises, that's fucking awesome. Like, it's awesome they got a director who knows about both of the things and cares about both of the things to connect them like that. We'll see how that pans out, if it ever pans out. Maybe that's the only way to do G.I. Joe, is to put them into a Transformers movie.
It's the only way to sell more toys.
Yeah, actually. They felt out of place. They felt a bit weird.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
Yeah. What else is weird? Oh, the beginning, we have an intro to the Maximal planet. They come from a different planet. They also might come from the future, which is interesting. Which harkens back to Beast Wars. Optimus Primal is named after Optimus Prime.
He's got his namesake.
I was a bit bummed that there was never somebody saying, "Hey, Optimus," and both of them turn around and say yes. I was hoping for that.
But almost like a Spider-Man moment.
Even though it would be extremely silly, I was really hoping they would throw that in somewhere. Like Mirage saying it was some shit.
I feel like that might have been something that was originally in the movie, but they had to cut it for time.
It's possible. It would have taken too long.
Yeah. So I was going to say something and then I
was talking about our spoiler Maximal in the beginning of the film, where we open up on the Maximal homeworld being munched by Unicron.
Why is that a spoiler though?
Because this character, whose name is Apeling.
If it's at the very beginning of the movie.
Because he's in the trailers, but the name isn't revealed. It was accidentally revealed.
Okay.
So like, this character isn't supposed to be known until you watch the film. Even at the beginning of the movie, it's still a spoiler.
I thought that was the same character
as Optimus Primal.
No, but they show you the two.
They show both of them. Apeling is massive.
I was gonna say his face is different.
He has a bit of a different vibe. He also feels like maybe
massive spoilers.
It is a big spoiler. Like, they accidentally revealed that character.
Massive spoilers.
Someone revealed that character by accident, but he sort of serves as the original Maximal Commander. He does feel like a bit of a last minute inclusion, because he's also just a big ape, and it is a bit strange using Ape Link, because the only people who know about Ape Link are very, very deep Transformers fans, because that character has only ever been like a convention exclusive character. Like, he's never been in the mainstream.
I have a feeling that if you know about it, you'll be like, hey, if you don't know about it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's either way, it's fine.
And I think they also put him in there to give Optimus Primal a bit more of not an emotional connection, but kind of like a reason to be like...
motivation.
There we go. Thank you. Words are hard, brains are hard. Give him some motivation, and to kind of make him a bit more of a reluctant commander, and like that sort of thing. He had a cool little fight scene with Scourge. That was cool. His little arm monkey blades, and he just gets completely dominated by Scourge.
Yeah, Scourge is a badass.
Scourge is awesome. He has this thing where he will collect insignias of fallen Transformers and fallen warriors and wear them on himself. There are a bunch of them there. There are all Easter eggs. There's a Predacon symbol. There's like a Wreckers. There's a whole bunch there, which implies it all exists in this universe at some point in time. Because the Terracons also apparently can travel through time with the aid of Unicron, because they go back in time to 1994 Earth.
It's not really explained, or...
There are some lore things which are just like mentioned but never really explained.
Yeah. So like, for example, the bad guys, for context.
The Terracons,
The Terracons are essentially the henchmen of Unicron, right?
Yes.
And that being said, I think the fact that they're just like, oh, they're super strong. Why are they super strong? Not only are they just evil and bad, and obviously bad guys need to be a worthy adversary, but they're powered by evil juices somehow.
They're powered by bad jubies, man.
They're powered by bad jubies supplied straight from the source of Unicron. And that's never explained. It's never really gone into detail of how exactly they go about like getting this power. What is this power? How does it work? How does Unicron have the ability to just hand it out, like make it rain, you know?
He can do that sort of stuff. He can reformat Transformers into other beings, is a thing that he can do.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Okay.
It's odd that they didn't mention... I assume they didn't...
As a power.
Yeah. I assume they didn't mention Dark Energon, which is basically the blood of Unicron.
No, they didn't.
I assume they didn't mention it because they didn't want to bring up Energon, but then later on in the film they bring up Energon. So it's like, why then just call it Dark Energon? That's what it is.
It's raw and untapped.
Dark Energon exists in the lore where it can fuel Transformers, but it
makes them crazy.
It makes them really powerful, but also a little unhinged and a bit nuts. It can also reanimate Transformers.
Oh.
So it does exist in the fiction.
Okay.
It is a thing. I'm just surprised they didn't mention it in the film.
Yeah, I
just
feel
call
like
it dark energy, like bad jubies.
it's one of those things, if you know about it, fantastic.
Like, I knew what it was.
If you don't know about it, you can literally just gloss over it and it doesn't detract from the movie at all.
Like, it doesn't really matter. The bad guys, they're cool and they're strong.
Don't ask, don't worry too much about, like, how are they getting their extra bad
like,
powers.
I'm
it's just
glad
a thing.
There was a bit of explanatory dialogue here and there, but it didn't feel like it was too long. Like, there's a part earlier where there's in the beginning of the film where the beacon gets activated and Mirage is basically saying to Noah, hey, humans can't see this, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I actually it did occur to me. I was like, is everybody seeing this?
And they explain that, which
is cool. And they're just like, no, humans can't see it, only like Cybertronians.
They paid attention to the parts to explain some things that was very, very necessary, which I appreciate.
Only Cybertronians can see it. And they only mention it once.
Yeah.
But the fact that they mentioned it once and the way that they mentioned it was very succinct, was very good. It was very much needed for context for the audience.
How long have we been running for?
Like, in that movie, Ghostbusters. In Ghostbusters, they have that beacon that appears after the giant Pillsbury Doughboy, and then the demons come out from like the other dimension and everything. And I'm just sitting there. I was watching this movie years ago, being like, can everybody see this?
I think everybody in that movie could see that.
There's like a whole bunch of people screaming in the streets. I'm like, they can see
it. They can definitely see it. Any other spoilers? We talked about how fucking cool the fight scenes are.
So cool.
God, they're so cool.
The choreography, if you can say choreography, because it's
would say choreography. It's still choreography.
So good.
Man,
clean, fresh, visually stunning, entertaining. It was done really well. I really liked it.
I know we just talked about like them skipping a lot of explanatory dialogue just to get the plot moving, but I wish the Terracons had gotten a bit more like, this is who they all were before they became heralds of Unicron.
Listen, this movie's not a 3-part.
I know. It's not important, but it would be interesting to know where Scourge came from, where Nightbird came from, where Battletruck came from.
It would have been cool to see their individual stories, but part of the movie...
I don't think there's time for that. And also,
part of the movie is about like, oh, we're in it together and everybody plays a part.
Yeah.
Even if, like, for example, Stratosphere, he's in the movie, you only see him like 3 or 4 times and often for only a few seconds.
He has some great scenes though.
He has some really
very cool.
pivotal, he's really important.
Yeah.
Without him, the movie would not have moved forward.
Yeah.
He's incredibly pivotal and he has a couple moments where he does actually say something and you do see him in character, not just in disguise. And he's great.
Yeah.
I wish we'd seen him more.
I wish he'd been in the final fight scene helping out. I guess he's an old rickety man, so maybe he wouldn't have done super well.
I don't know. I got the feeling that he was back at the Peruvian village just hanging out.
He's just hanging out smoking weed.
Like protecting them.
Protecting the
wink,
village,
wink.
yeah.
Like, I'm here to make sure nothing bad happens. Meanwhile, he's not much of a fighter, clearly.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up?
In particular?
Yeah.
MacGuffins. MacGuffins.
Can I bring up one more thing before we talk about MacGuffins?
MacGuffin.
Scourge, yeah? There was a part where his mask got knocked off.
Oh, yes.
I was expecting a bit more of a dramatic reveal, but he just has a weird, gnarly face.
No, he just looks like a fucking prune.
Yeah, he has a strange looking face, man.
We were watching in the cinema, and I tugged on Lex's sleeve, and I was like, he has a weirdly organic looking face.
Yeah.
And that really, he just became less threatening because he just looked like an old, wrinkly E.T. instead of...
Yeah.
No, they actually mention E.T. in the movie a couple times.
They drop E.T. a couple times,
I haven't seen that film, by the way. Don't care to watch it. Sounds like nightmare fuel. But that being said, his face... that ain't it, Chief.
No.
I didn't like it. If anything, it actually detracted from his character, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
It looked too organic. It looked weird and pruny. I kind of wish they just left it on. Because it didn't add to the movie.
It didn't add to the movie. I think
it did. If it did one thing, it showed that he could be hurt.
Oh, that he wasn't. We're back at Toy Trash Talks.
Technical difficulties. We had to run out and grab some fresh batteries for our recording devices.
Zoom. Yeah, the batteries died.
But we're back. We were talking about Scourge's pruny fucking face.
Doing a Scourge's gnarly face, man. Just to summarize, I thought there was going to be a bit more of a bigger reveal about his weird face. He just has a weird face. But I think the whole point was to show, like you mentioned, that he's not invincible. He's not a god.
He can bleed.
Yeah. He's not indestructible.
Yeah.
You can punch his face and his mask will fall off.
So there's a moment in the film, and obviously this is major spoilers territory, but there's a moment in the film where he gets his mask essentially dislodged in battle. And you don't see his face for a couple seconds. It lingers on his mask lying on the floor. And there's a moment where he actively bends over to reach for it. And he picks it up, but he doesn't put it back on. And that moment for me was one of my favorite moments in the film.
Yeah.
Because it really sort of illustrated the fact that he had to physically bend over and like kneel to get it, and the whole issue of like he didn't even put it back on. I feel like there's a metaphor, and I hate metaphors.
There might be a bit of a metaphor there, yeah.
I feel like there's a metaphor there with the fact that he's not totally indestructible.
Yeah.
He has weaknesses. He can bleed, and he's got a pretty fucking face.
A pretty face.
Suck it.
I think at that point he also realized that, oh no, now I'm in danger. Because he calls for backup and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Where he's getting basically smushed into the weird big device by Prime. He's like, help, boss, please.
I do want to bitch about one thing.
Yes, go ahead.
If I can bitch about one thing, basically in the movie Scourge.
It's
Scourge.
You can say Scourge or Scourge. Either is perfectly fine.
Scourge has these minions that are smaller, aggressive creatures that are supposedly born from Unicron's flesh.
Yeah, they come out of the metal.
They come out of him, and that's very cool. But they're kind of, as aggressive as they are, they're kind of useless because he gives them instructions and
they never follow through with those instructions.
They're motivated and they have energy to do what they need to do and to do what they're told, but they never actually succeed.
No.
And it bothers me ever so slightly.
Listen, yeah, but they succeeded, the movie would be over in like 20 minutes.
He was like, rip the flesh from their bones of the humans, and I was like, oh, that's badass. And like, nah, he gives them the instruction like 3 times, and every single time something happens, and they never really get to do what they're told, and that kind of decreases the scariness and the sort of efficacy of them being bad guys. Do you know what I mean?
I guess, but also like they're just fodder. Like
they're still scary though.
They're just meant to be like.
They're very cool.
They're just meant to be things to chase humans at their scale and also to die in mass.
I like their design.
They look cool, yeah.
I think they're kind of creepy and threatening. I guess they do come close to reaching their goals.
We almost get there.
But
there's also a bunch of like scorpion-looking villains. The toy line calls them Scorponauts. They look cool.
They were in the trailer. Very cool.
They look pretty neat.
There's lots of them. They die pretty graphically.
Die in mass, yeah.
But
there's some fucking great scenes on this Primal, like ripping them apart and stuff.
Yeah, like it's good. It's good for the movie. The movie likes it.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Overall, other than Scourge's naughty face, I think the final battle was pretty cool, and like it felt big and epic, where they're just murdering hordes of Terracons.
Dude, Peru got fucked up.
Yeah. I think the way the other Terracons got dispatched, Nightbird and Battletrap, was pretty satisfying. They died in cool ways, particularly Battletrap, when he gets ripped apart by Prime and Primal, and they have a bit of an exchange between the two after that. That's pretty fun.
There's beef.
It was very fun, where Prime was like, hey, that was my kill, and Optimus Prime was just kind of like laughed at him.
Shrug.
After smashing this dude's face in with like his own little wrecking hook hand.
Yeah.
That was cool.
The candid banter about who gets to kill this guy is a little
that
bit...
was very funny.
A little bit of like a moment between them, you know, like a camaraderie. Okay, fucking.
Should we circle back to the other spoiler, which is the MacGuffin, which I side heavily at?
The MacGuffin.
I hate MacGuffins. Every single Transformers movie, aside from Bumblebee, had a MacGuffin, and I'm so tired of MacGuffins. Like, I get it, sure. The MacGuffin in this movie it doesn't feel like, oh, they just needed a thing of the plot to go forward. It feels a bit more important and crucial. In Revenge of the Fallen and other Transformers movies, where the MacGuffin feels like
shoved in there.
It's shoved in there, and it's just like it can be whatever. It doesn't matter. And this one, it feels a bit more important, but also it doesn't feel crucial to the plot or to the characters. Like it feels like a very secondary thing, as opposed to like the main important thing nobody really cares about. Does that make any sense?
It is really vital to the core of the plot, but the way that it's highlighted, yet also downgraded by the human character's performance and the other stuff that's going on, makes it feel like it's a valuable thing. Obviously, the plot can't like move forward without the MacGuffins, plural.
Yeah.
But that being said, it doesn't feel like there's as much weight put onto it. Like, there's a little bit in the beginning when they're busy trying to figure out what the MacGuffin is exactly and explaining, that in terms of like, oh, we found this artifact. What is it? Oh, we don't know. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh,
now
it's the
we
thing. It's
know.
the MacGuffin.
Now we know.
Yeah.
I think that was done pretty well.
Yeah, I think it didn't feel as cheesy or as forced as the other movies, where the MacGuffins were just like they just feel very silly.
It
This
didn't
one
feel shoehorned in.
Yeah.
It actually felt good, and it felt the progression of the mentioning the MacGuffin and the active hunting down of said MacGuffin, as many movies have. It didn't feel bad or.
It didn't feel bad. I'm very tired of MacGuffins in Transformers movies. I wish they would just move on from that.
Understandably.
Like. Yeah. There could have been another plot device in this one, but I
think it's fine.
I think it's okay. I'm very tired. Like, hopefully, if they,
in general,
I'm not tired
I'm
of
so
MacGuffins.
tired.
I'm so tired. I feel like Scourge's naughty face.
His pruny fucking face.
Hopefully, if there's a sequel to this one and more set in this continuity, they'll move away from MacGuffins and just have it be like more of a conflict and how the conflict resolves, the kind of thing.
Because you can drive a plot forward without needing a MacGuffin.
No, Bumblebee did that without needing the MacGuffin.
He kind of was the MacGuffin, which negates the whole need for a MacGuffin.
He wasn't quite, sort of. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Only because he's not like a flesh creature. It's fine.
Flesh
I'm just
creature.
looking into it too much here.
If you've been watching out for spoilers, welcome back. We're going to wrap up this film properly now. Hopefully the spoiler zone is empty. We'll try to avoid any potential things here. But yes, this is a fun Transformers movie.
How many beasts have been risen since you watched this film yesterday only?
I had a very good time watching this film. It was a fun, good Transformers movie. It isn't amazing. It isn't the best ever. But it's a really good Transformers movie. And the Transformers can finally just be really cool characters doing cool things.
If you're really invested, it just might change your life.
Yeah. You just might feel a certain rising of the beasts.
Of your very, very particular beast.
Your particular beast. A rising of a particular beast.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's everything, yeah?
Yeah. Overall, the experience, the fact that we had unscheduled load shedding, or it's not even load shedding
Who
because
knows what happened,
technically it was the fault of the mall and not necessarily the power grid in general. But we ran out of popcorn, which is entirely on us, not anybody else's fault.
At least the popcorn was free.
The popcorn was free. I don't think we need to talk about that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about how we got free popcorn. Wrap up. Overall, my favorite character, strong between Mirage and Airazor. Probably leaning a little bit more towards Airazor.
Yeah.
Even though
Airazor has some really pivotal moments in this film, which we haven't discussed about in spoilers, but you see the film if you want to see the film.
She pushed the movie forward. Yeah, see the film if you want to see the film. Also, Airazor does not transform in the film.
That's a bit of a spoiler, but that's fine. We never see a robot mode, unfortunately. It's fine. We're here now. It's a bit of a bummer. I would have loved to see what her robot form looked like.
But the movie doesn't lose anything by not seeing that.
I think it loses not seeing her in robot mode.
Positive.
Yeah.
Positive wrap up here. My favorite character was definitely Airazor.
Yeah,
Mirage was fantastic.
Mirage is very good.
Human performances, stellar. Absolutely. The music, everything else, amazing.
What do you mean? I think the music was great.
The music was cool, but if I was in the writer's chair, I probably would have had a little bit of a robust selection of pieces as opposed to things that felt a little bit more on the hip-hop side of things.
Yeah, because it's set in 1994.
Oh, and like Brooklyn and New York.
I think the music was entirely like...
No, it wasn't that it wasn't thought well out. Yeah. It's just that I would have made a couple slightly different decisions, that's all.
Sure, but I think the music fit really well. I think it was done quite tastefully. It's fresh. Like, so it's refreshing to hear that as opposed to like whiny rock and like butt rock.
Oh god, yeah, I know.
Also, the score is amazing. There's a very nice little homage to there's a piece in the first Transformers movie, live action one, called Arrival to Earth, which you hear at some point in this one. It's fucking cool when it plays. There's little references to the '86 soundtrack as well from the animated one, which is also very good. Yeah, man. This movie is chock full of little Transformers references. It's pulling from all kinds of parts of the lore, which is very satisfying to see. Even the transformations themselves felt a lot more tactile than they had before. Yeah, overall, great. Had a
Fantastic.
good time.
Go check it out.
If you haven't seen it, go see it. If we spoiled anything by accident, I'm sorry. If we misspelled any names, misread any names,
So
I'm sorry.
sorry.
I'm so sorry.
We're bound to offend someone, and we apologize in advance, sincerely.
But hey, if you have enjoyed us yelling about a movie, we mentioned this before, but hey, if you want to give us a like or a follow, we also have an Instagram and a Twitter at ToyTrashTalks. We usually do toys, obviously. We might do a couple more movies in the future, depending how we feel. If they're like toy related.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a Barbie one in the future. Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, but thank you so much for listening and or watching.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe and do all the things and comment. It really, really helps.
It does help a lot.
Please feed the algorithm demons.
Yes, we really appreciate it.
Let it know that you like our stuff. If you like our stuff, if you don't, no pressure.
No pressure though. Exactly, no pressure. If you don't like our stuff, like our stuff anyway.
Yeah, give us a like. It's free.
It's free. We're out of here. I've been Lex.
I'm Via.
And thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
Go rice and beasts.
These lyrics that will make you call the cops.
Beasts.